Hey, okay. I just wanted to go over a quick little install of VirtualBox and Kali Linux and how to get it and whatnot. So none of it's too hard. You're just gonna go to your search engine and start with VirtualBox. We'll just type in VirtualBox and it should pop up. If you'd like, I can put a link in the description, virtualbox.org. It'll bring you to this page. Click on this big download VirtualBox button. It'll ask you what platform you're using. So I'm using Windows. It will explain how to do everything. Whichever platform you're using, you just click it, save the file, it'll download. They do have older builds on here if you're interested in the older builds that have features that might not be in the build now, but it's going to be a basic install, so it'll just walk you through. I already have it installed, so I'm going to cancel this, but you just walk through, follow your steps if you're on Windows. I haven't had to do it on another distro, so sorry I can't walk you through that. Install it. And then we're just going to pop up here to our search engine again after that's done and installed, and set up and type in Kali Linux. And Kali's pretty good about this. It should be this top link where you can just go to kali.org. Again, I'll put the link in the description. Again, we get a pretty decent sized download button. So here you're going to get some options. We are going to go ahead and grab the virtual machine option. All of these other ones are for they're pretty you can read them and they'll explain themselves. Live boot, you can boot from a USB drive. I personally have a couple of these that I boot from sometimes. They run amazingly. Linux is very good about you only ever need like 3 gigs of space on a little flash drive and you can boot an entire operating system. So it's pretty cool. Bare metals if you want to run straight off of like a hard install, but we're gonna go with virtual machine today. Now VMware, VirtualBox, the two big sluggers in the hypervisor game, which if you didn't know, that's what these are. They're hypervisors. Hypervisor, it's a level 2 hypervisor, I believe, which means it sits on top of your operating system and runs on top of it, so your operating system's still in the background. So we're gonna go ahead and download this. This is a pretty big file, 3.7 gigs. So it's gonna take a minute. Don't exit it or think that it's where's the file at? Give it a while. It'll download. So once it's downloaded, we can go ahead and find the file in our downloads folder or click it directly from our downloads here like I'm about to. And this is an OVA file, so this is a pre-built VirtualBox machine that you just downloaded. It's already installed and everything. So let me drag this over here before I do this again actually, so that you can see it happen. Okay. So as soon as I click it, oh wow, it popped up on my other monitor still. Okay, well, we'll just drag this over here. It's going to bring this screen up on top of your VirtualBox manager. And I just leave everything alone pretty much. I've never had an issue with it. Agree. And then it'll install the actual VirtualBox. And so you can also boot these. I'll show you in just a second. From like virtual disk drives, so like putting in a CD and just booting from that, or you can install them that way. There's multiple file ways you can install iOS files, and then like I just showed you a total OVA and actual built all the way through box that we're about to boot up, and you're seeing this in real time. It doesn't take very long to install. I do have a pretty beefy system that I'm on right now, though, so it might take a bit longer on a system that's not as beefy. You're about to see some of the specs on mine. So the machine's installed down here. So what I'm going to do before I actually boot the machine is go to settings. Now, check through the settings real quick. So this is you're going to want this in bi-directional. It's a quality of life thing. So this is your clipboard options. You come into general under advanced. This is your clipboard options. You can copy from your actual desktop and drag it over into the virtual machine with this enabled. If you don't have this enabled, you won't be able to drag things from your desktop into the virtual machine. You won't be able to copy things from your desktop into the virtual machine. This makes them share the same clipboard, so it makes it a lot easier to copy things. It's a big quality of life feature. I would really suggest enabling it. If you're playing around with the machine. Okay, so we're gonna come down to system. This is your memory, how much memory you want to allocate to it. You can see you have this green bar, orange bar, red bar. So this is basically saying that, like, hey, this is what you can use without messing yourself up, as long as you're not running too much stuff in the background. And as I said, I'm on a pretty beefy machine. I have 65 gigs. I'm gonna set this to 8 gigs. That's a pretty okay spot. Now, as you see, I'm running 16 CPUs. It only has 2 allocated right now. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 4. And that, again, that's a pretty healthy spot. If you have lower settings, that's okay. Your machine might run a little bit slower, but it'll still definitely be usable, and you won't notice that much until you get into things like brute forcing and whatnot. So as I was saying earlier, you can boot these. Like, you could come in here and select like SATA ports and whatnot, iOS files to run off of, so you can install them that way also. But these OVA files are pre-built and good to go, and they make it really cool because if your buddy decides that he likes your machine, which I'm going to show you in a second, one of the coolest things about Linux is that you can customize it and get add-ons and stuff that make it look really cool. If your buddy decides that they like your machine, then you can just send them a clone of it, and they can install it into their virtual box, and they're up and ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and boot this machine up now that we've changed the settings so that it'll hopefully boot a little bit faster. And first thing I like to do whenever booting a machine up is, because if I full screen it, you'll notice you'll have all this area here, is I come over to view and I will put it in scaled mode. So that way I'm just actually in a full screen mode. Now on a fresh install from Kali, this is always going to be Kali and Kali. I would advise changing that if you're planning on doing anything major with this. But yeah, good security habits. So we're going to go over to display first and change this because it looks bad. So we'll fix my screen immediately. There we go. That looks much better. So as you can see, this is Kali Linux. People think that Linux is scary because of the terminal. Now, you can get, bare metals like Ubuntu that is just a terminal that you can operate in, but you can also put a GUI on top of that. I have other Ubuntu machines that look amazing that I could show you that they have GUIs just like this, because that's what this is. This is just a GUI, a GUI interface, and it looks amazing. You can customize this a bunch of different ways. I will actually pull over my version of Kali, and yeah, as you can see, this is my version. I've moved around some stuff, and I have this over here, this is Plank, and I enjoy it. There's certain things that I add, quality of life features and whatnot. So one of the first things you're going to want to do once you install this, though, is run a sudo apt get updates. So this will update the machine, and it'll bring the updates down. It won't actually push them in, but it'll bring them down, so that way we're getting them ready to go. You need to do this with your machine pretty regularly, so that way you can make sure that you're good to go. Booting up a Ubuntu GUI. Ubuntu is beautiful. I love it too. Kali, if you don't know, is made for penetration testing. It's made for hackers. It's made for it has all these pre-installed programs that just make your life a lot easier as a penetration tester, or a hacker, whatever you may be doing. Hopefully nothing nefarious. So after sudo apt get update, we're going to run sudo apt get upgrade. upgrade. Now this will just push all the upgrades in, and you'll be good to go. So this is just the basics of what I wanted to show you of how to install it and get it up. So this is Ubuntu. As you can see, very beautiful, also very customizable. I very much like Ubuntu, but Kali is what I use for practicing hacking and stuff like that. So this was don't be scared of Linux. The terminal also isn't even scary. Once you get used to it, it's actually much faster. I used to think that people said that just because they wanted to be cool, if I'm being honest with you, because they knew how to work it, and I didn't. But once I learned how to run it, nothing beats it. You can move flawlessly through the system and not have to worry about trying to click and find files, and you can find things easier. Oh, I don't have anything installed on this system. I was like, where are my documents? But yeah, don't be scared of the terminal. It's a lot easier than you think it is. So I just wanted to show a quick install. I'm not going to go any more in depth on here. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Or if you have anything that I missed that you would like to add, please let me know. I'm still newer to all of this. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a nice day.